Think of Unlimited Awesome as a master AI agent that is there to teach you and guide you through life. And the cool thing about it is we've developed an identity system that's not held by Google or Apple or any country. What do you teach people in an age of hyperintelligence when AIs are smarter than us by factors of 1 million, 10 million? It's not just learning things, but it's daily habits, practicing a daily habit of gratitude, practicing meditation, doing your exercises, eating healthy. These are the things that round out a healthy human. Show me your habits and I'll show you your future.
Alan, hello. Happy Tuesday. How are you doing today?
Happy Tuesday and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Well, that's right. It is today. It's the same.
I'm not wearing green.
I'm not either. That's
Oh no.
trouble. Pinch, pinch, right?
Awesome. Nice to see you.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm at home in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. I am in Fort Lauderdale. Looks like we have St. Patty's on the same day. Not everyone in the world does, right?
We all celebrate. Get the jig going.
How are you celebrating? Do you have any traditions or anything you like to do?
My
Or places
daughter
to
made
go?
cupcakes last night. She made little Patrick's Day cupcakes. So that
And
was,
those are green, I'm guessing.
they are green. Yeah, they are green.
I'm a sugar addict, so you want to keep those away from me.
Yeah, I am also a sugar addict. Stop.
Although we figured out how to make them without sugar. Turns out a lot of the original recipes, like brownies, donuts, didn't have any sugar. It was added later.
Yes, the addictive part was added later.
I just
There's a debate whether sugar is the most addictive substance on earth or coffee.
I'm not addicted to coffee, so I would say for me it's sugar.
Yeah, I think it is sugar.
If I do too much, I do some chai, but if I do too much caffeine, I have trouble sleeping. So never really did a lot of caffeine.
On it.
All right, beautiful. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing for your customers and your audience.
Certainly. Long story short, we've been building technologies for about 20 years. We invented touchscreen technology for the music industry. Then we built the first the first metaverse company in the world. We called it MetaVRSE, which was
Beautiful.
cool.
It was the first.
The first, yeah. And then we called it metaverse. So it was kind of this ironic thing like, hey, why is everybody hijacking our name?
Oh my God.
But anyway.
Did you guys have a conversation about that, or they just took it?
Well, we have the trademark on it. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
We filed the trademark for metaverse 1 month before Meta changed their name.
Wow.
Because we knew they were going to change their name. I'm like, okay, well, we better just lock in our name.
And
Anyway,
is there any story behind that you can talk about, or?
there's so many stories, but let's focus today on what we're doing now moving forward, because the stuff we've done in the past is really cool. We invented touchscreen technology for the music industry. We worked with like Linkin Park, Infected Mushroom, and we went to Coachella with Heineken. Like it was an incredible. You ever seen the big touchscreen see-through DJ system?
Yeah.
We invented that.
Or I've seen videos of it. I haven't seen it in
we
person.
invented that back before the iPad came out. So we
Beautiful.
were kind of technology OGs. And then we invented a whole bunch of stuff in the metaverse. VR photo booth. We invented the first web AR project in the world. We did for Shoppers Drug Mart. We did VR, this incredible VR node system where you click a ball and these nodes would come out. We did that for T-Mobile. We just did all these amazing projects. And then we built our own game engine on the browser. So it was an amazing kind of, of technology. But about a decade ago, our kids were going through the public school system and they were teaching them zero technology, like absolutely zero. They weren't trying.
Even a decade ago. Wow.
Even a decade ago, like there was no talk about AI, technology, robotics, 3D printing, VR, AR. None of this stuff was even contemplated in the school system. And so we said, well, can we help? And we started kind of trying to bring it into the schools, and we were shut down at every turn. And then we started to bring it into the school board, and we were shut down. And we tried to bring it at the, the ministry level, and we kept getting shut down. So what we realized is that the school systems were designed to create employees. And that's fine. And it served us very well for the last, 100 years or so, or 150 years, or, 200 years. Problem is, as we go into this intelligence age, as we go into the age of AI, robotics, automation, really taking over everything that we're doing, that the education system is not going to be able to change in time for this. And so, we wanted to build something new. We realized that you can't fix a system that doesn't want to be fixed. And so
what I thought was most interesting, some of the recent videos that have been trending, is this conversation about education. There was one woman who had, 2 kids in high school, and they're good kids. They do sports. The family has a business. And the conversation was about how they're good, they get good grades, there's no problem with school, right? But they're just they just don't see the point. And they would rather go to work with the parents, and these are good kids, and like help them and learn from the business than go to high school. And they're considering whether to even go to college, even though they're almost straight A students. So there's a sort of been this big transition with the importance of school. I'd say even the last 5 years, really, COVID triggered this sort of questioning here in Florida, where people are questioning, like, well, what is the value of this, where it wasn't really
Well, Sanjay, the
questioned.
other thing is, what is the value? There used to be, if you had a university degree, you got paid 30% more than somebody who didn't have a university degree. And that was standard for, and also the standard contract that we had with the world was that your children generally did better than you did, right? So, the generation behind you always did a little bit better than you, and it was this progressive thing. And then the costs of university skyrocketed,
Yeah.
thousands of percent, whereas the cost of living stayed the same, went up by 3%. And so, did the education get better? Not really. Are there more teachers per student? No. Are there more resources available per student? No. So where did the money go? And it ended up, if you study it really closely, which I've been doing for a
Well,
decade,
private equity companies, of course.
not just that,
Not just
but
that.
middleware bloat. And so, like, if you've ever been in kind of an enterprise software stack, you see all this kind of middlware, and you're like, "What is this stuff?" And well, don't touch those things. They're the glue that holds it all together. And we're not sure if we pull that thing out if it all collapses. But what they've found is that the management of these things got so big, the middle management and the upper management, and it got so big in universities and colleges that the actual people that interact with the students stayed the same, but all the other bloat got bigger. So administration bloat got huge, and the services to the student didn't actually improve with that. And so anyway, our vision is now is to leverage these technologies to always be on the cutting edge of technology. So we realize that if you build a new education system, one, it has to use the technologies, not just teach them, but use them. So we use AI, we use machine learning, computer vision. We have actually a computer vision system. It's from a startup that we invested in years ago, and we took the technology out, and what it is a skeletal tracker, and now it can track you doing your exercises. So think of Unlimited Awesome, which is the platform we're building, as learning for the intelligence age. So what do you teach people in an age of hyperintelligence when AIs are smarter than us by factors of a million, 10 million?
Let's talk about that term, this age of intelligence. I've done a lot of work around this agentic age we're entering, right? The age of agents. But I almost think I like your term better. What does that mean? To me, we're currently in the experiential age, right? Half the economy is experiential. When you buy a watch, it's not the quality and the components of the watch. It's like the experience of
Often
having something
circumstantial.
something rare, the box, all kinds of things are, like around that, the cultural identity of that brand. There's all kinds of things. Or your phone, you can make an iPhone for
It's
$50 now,
it's
right?
interesting you say watches, because one of the things that I found very fascinating is Rolex is not a traditional company. People think of it as just a company, and it makes, last year they made $11 billion, massive company, but it's owned by a foundation. And the foundation owns all of it. It will never sell. It will never go IPO.
Yeah.
They're not bound by quarterly earnings. They look to, a 100-year legacy. And by doing that, they're able to donate the surplus of their profits to charities quietly. They don't make a noise about it. They don't tell anybody who it is. They just do it. It's a legacy that the founder put in place. And we actually set up Unlimited Awesome like that. So Unlimited Awesome is a foundation that will run in perpetuity. It has no shareholders,
Amazing.
there's
Okay.
no equity. We're doing a token launch because you obviously need to fund it, but the token will be publicly traded, and that gives, investors liquidity and stuff like this, but it allows the foundation to remain in control forever.
Do you know when that token is launching?
May 1st. So we're actually
So very
the
soon.
node
Yeah.
sale.
So
Yeah, the node sale started. So the private sale started March 1st. So we have 2 months of the private sale, and we'll talk about that later. But we have 2 months of private sale, and then the public sale goes on May 1st. And
and
that's
somebody who invests in this token, is it more of a financial investment, or are they doing good for the world by investing?
I would say both. I mean, you can do well by doing good. And I think the great thing about this is that it's the token itself is not backed up by equity because the foundation owns the equity. It's backed up by revenue. And, we were talking about the intelligence age, the agents age. So what Unlimited Awesome is a series of tools. The first tool is a personalized AI tutor, which is a series of agents. So underneath if you take away this, pretty looking interface, underneath is an orchestration layer of agents. So we've got a bunch of different agents that can do things for you, that teach you. They can teach you any subject at a PhD level. Imagine having a tutor when you were younger, and any subject do you want at PhD level. That's what LLMs allow you to do. And people are using ChatGPT for this. They're using other things. The difference between something like ChatGPT and ours is that you're locked into ChatGPT's, world. With ours, we're using ChatGPT, we're using, DeepSeek, we're using Llama, we're using different open source models. We're even using Falcon from UAE, so we can have Arabic in there. Any language you speak to, you can talk to it. And really, it comes down to the
But
ability.
it's focused on learning that topic that
Exactly,
your goal
exactly.
is.
So
It's
we
not
have our
going to
own
get
curriculum.
distracted.
Our curriculum consists of what we call 6 castles of success: perseverance, creative problem solving and critical thinking, economic responsibility, teamwork and mentorship, social impact, and environmental sustainability. Those are the 6 castles, and under each one of those, there's about 10 badges. So there's a gratitude badge, a grit badge, a happiness badge, ethics, empathy, innovation, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, investing, tax strategy, AI mastery, blockchain, and all of these. There's a presenter badge, a podcaster badge, because all of these things, just by doing a podcast, that's part of the way you become successful. You promote yourself, you promote others, you bring knowledge to the world, and podcasts are the new for that.
It's the new networking. Yeah.
It is.
Beautiful. Well, I love the age of intelligence and how you're labeling that. I may steal that from you. Have you found that's trending with people? That's resonating?
We just, it's funny because last week we were trying to figure out what are we going to call this thing? It's more than just an education platform. It's a learning system. And so we're really just trying to, figure out how do we encapsulate that. We called it a human operating system for the intelligence age. And, really it's not just learning things, but it's daily habits, practicing a daily habit of gratitude, practicing meditation, doing your exercises, eating healthy. These are the things that round out a healthy human. In fact, there's a quote: "Show me your habits and I'll show you your future." And we really,
Are you
believe
guys doing language training as well?
we're not doing language training, although it is kind of inherent into the LLMs. You can ask it to teach you language because we're not yes, we have our guidelines of our curriculum, but you can step outside of that, right? And that's actually one of the interesting things in the architecture of it behind the scenes when we talk about agents. One of the things in behind the scenes is that sometimes you don't even need AI at all. Like we've got our curriculum, it's there, it can deliver it. So it doesn't even touch the AI. It just says, here's the next lesson. You can go through the lessons. And by doing that, by being picky about what we deliver and how we deliver it, we actually decrease the cost to delivery. And it sounds, you're talking pennies at a time, but when you do that at a massive scale, it really helps. And a lot of times we're taking a sledgehammer out to tap in a finishing nail on a wall, right? Because a large language model is a sledgehammer, and sometimes you just want to ask it a simple question, and you're using this massive tool. And that, by the way, in the thing you're showing there, the little guy, that's our what we call an awesome knot. And the awesome knots are customizable, so you can choose how old you want it and what you want it to look like. But that's your AI tutor. And the reason why we went with that instead of like a humanoid or a human, video is there's a thing called the uncanny valley
Yeah,
where
we ran into that
it
as well.
gets a
We
little
were
creepy.
producing our Alice as a very realistic video at first, and we found that the authenticity. Now she's cybernetic, right? And we
Exactly.
found that authenticity of these cybernetics makes the interaction go better.
You want the interaction to be natural and then feel good. And when you introduce this trying to be human, and if anything goes wrong, if the mouth's moving slightly weird or it blinks weird, it throws you off. It really makes it feel a little bit weird. So we went with this kind of awesome knot, which is your AI tutor for life type of thing. Think of Unlimited Awesome as a master AI agent that is there to teach you and guide you through life. And the cool thing about it is we've developed a sovereign identity system that's not held by Google or Apple or any country. Somebody said to me, "Oh, why do I need this? My country has a digital ID system." And I'm like, "Okay, what happens when you leave the country? How valid is your digital ID system?" They're like, "Oh, yeah." So what we've developed through our work with the Tribonacci Foundation. Tribonacci Foundation is a foundation based around this new type of math. This math is called Fibonacci math, and it solves for a universal constant. And the universal constant is it's actually 2 squared over 12, which is the volume of our icosahedron, a shape. So we've got this ability to create incredibly new things for the world using this technology. So I'm really excited about the partnership with Fibonacci Foundation will allow us to give every student a sovereign identity, and that sovereign identity can now hold all of their data.
Oh,
So
wow.
from the NFT badges that they earn to the progress that they've made to the questions they've asked, it's not staying in our servers. We don't sell the data. We don't trade it for anything. It is the students. And the one thing that's interesting is we have one shareholder, or not shareholder, one stakeholder, and the one stakeholder is the student. And we're not answering to parents. We're not answering to governments. We're not answering to corporations. No, obviously we can sell our technology to those, and they will be a stakeholder with that. But the foundation's goal and mission is to train 1 million students by 2030 and invest in student startups. So we want to invest in 100,000 student startups by 2040. And so that's how this becomes a
Wow.
regenerative wealth reserve for the students. So when they graduate, instead of just getting a certificate and being like, "Yay, you graduate, here's a thing to put on your wall," you get that as well, but you also get a share in the DAO. You get to participate in the distributed autonomous organization that is the foundation's essence, if you would.
If somebody wants to get involved with this, I think a lot of people will. Should they reach out to you or just watch this 3-minute video on the
Yeah.
website and buy a node? What's the best way to get involved?
The nodes are great because you buy the node and you become a permanent supporter. So on our website, it will say, node supporters, and it'll have tiers, and that'll be there forever on the website and on the apps. And so you can do that. Now, it also mints 10,000 tokens for every node. So what that means is when you buy that, you're actually buying the tokens ahead of anybody else. And then we're going to go live on May 1st. So you can do that. And we're also, when every node sold, there's 10,000 nodes available. With every node sold, we're giving a full scholarship to a student around the world.
Oh,
And if you
amazing.
buy 100 or more, you can dictate where that goes. You can say, I want these 100 to go to New York City or Africa or wherever you want them to go. So that's what we're doing.
Well,
And
amazing.
it's
Well, thank you so
unlimitedawesome.com/nodes.
amazing. Well, I love learning about this, and thank you so much for joining today.
My pleasure, Sanjay. Thank you.
Run your day with Runday.AI.